So, my name is Ashley Butenschoen. This is Make It Public, and today I have the pleasure of Chad Butenschoen being on with us. This is his first time.
Yes.
And candidate Kamal Bhachu here with us as well. So, Kamal is running for county council at large here in Whatcom County. And so I just want to jump right in with you, Kamal, and I guess tell the listeners about you.
I'll start with, my name is Kamal.
Yeah.
Last name Bhachu. That's how you say it. and also my name is, if you want
to learn how to
pronounce it correctly, is Kamal. And Kamal, yeah. Okay. That's how you say it correctly. But, and when I first moved here in 1996, so I was born and raised in India.
Which part?
Beginning. Punjab, state of Punjab. It's northern part of India.
Yep.
It's basically agriculture based state, and so I was born and raised there till I was 15. Went to high school there, and moved there when I was 15 in 1996.
Why?
Because our dad was here, so after he got his citizenship, he sponsored us, and that's how we ended up in Bellingham. Because my uncle there in Canada, so he thought maybe let's move them closer to them, then we can just go over the border and meet them, and that's how we ended up in Bellingham.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how big is your family?
I have a older brother and a younger sister, and I'm the middle child.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
So you came here in high school.
Yep.
And then what?
Bellingham High School?
Bellingham High School, yeah. That's where I started in the beginning.
Yep.
That's how I kind of remember you from Bellingham High School.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, in '98, that's when they were going to remodel Bellingham High School, and I ended up over at Whatcom High. So graduated from there in 2000.
Okay.
Now and after that, I went to Bellingham Tech College. Went back there. First time I went to Bellingham Tech College, got a degree in automotive technology. So I worked in automotive a little bit. Didn't really like the field, and decided to go back to Bellingham Tech College to get a degree in computer software. But the waiting list was just huge, and then I was looking around like, okay, what can I do for the time being? Mm-hmm. And then I came across construction technology. I was like, you know what? I don't mind learning how to build homes. So when I signed up for construction technology and learned how to build homes, and then now we look back.
Now, is that like engineering? Construction technology?
Yeah. So basically they taught you how to build a brand new home from basically you get a piece of land.
Yep.
And how to dig,
put the septic in, get the foundation in, everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is.
Yep.
If we ever decide to build a house, I'm going to be like, hey,
we could never build a house together, Ashley. I'm
no,
sorry.
No, we probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, we could start, but then there would probably only be one person left.
Yeah, so
Me.
recently I've been helping my brother with his place. We did ICF forms. Basically, all the exterior walls are made out of concrete.
Really?
Yeah.
So why? Why?
It's a very good, like, soundproof home. It's structurally very sound. If there's 80-mile or 90-mile wind outside, you don't really feel or hear anything. And it's very energy efficient home. Because I wanted to build something that's very energy efficient.
Right.
And then we came across this ICF form technology type of homes. So I decided to do that, and yeah, it's coming along really good.
So it's probably more cost effective than plywood right now. For the price of plywood being went up to like $90.
Yeah. I would say so, but I haven't really crunched all the numbers. But yeah. I think overall it's going to be very good home. So,
awesome. So what you are you were, you've been employed at Peace Health. So what was your job at Peace Health?
Peace Health. Should I start from the beginning?
Sure.
Like how I ended up at Peace Health?
Yeah.
So in year 2000, when we had economy crashed, and I got laid off from my construction job, and I was looking for something to do, and a friend of mine, he was working as a CNA staffel in Blaine.
I don't know what a CNA is.
CNA is a nursing assistant,
Okay.
basically. A certified nursing assistant.
Gotcha.
So then he's like, why don't you do that? I was like, I don't think I want to bathe people or clean people. I was like, that's not
my thing.
That's not my thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do that. He goes, well, you get used to it. I was like, how you get used to this? It's like, I don't know. So, after looking around, there was nothing. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I should. Saw this ad in paper, St. Francis Nursing Home. They were hiring people. So I walked in, asked them what I have to do. They're like, well, we teach people in-house. We can we can certify you in-house while you're learning and getting paid at the same time. Decided to do that. Worked there for about a couple of years, and then I wanted to move on to the hospital because I was like, maybe nursing field is for me. Did my application at Peace Health, got a call a couple of days later. I didn't know that they were asking me to come and work for hospice, because hospice, they barely done building hospice house, and they needed people to get that hospice house running. So got a job with Peace Health.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but
2010,
hospice is basically when somebody's, got one foot out the door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the end of their life.
Yep.
So it was a much needed, I guess, facility in our county. So where if somebody need 24-hour care, and then it was very helpful for the families when their loved one is at the end of their lives. So I just loved it, and so decided to stick with that for 4 years until then was thinking about going into nursing field, and the waiting list was just still same thing, long waiting list. I didn't want to wait around, and so I had a choice. Either I could just wait or move out of the state, get my nursing, and come back, but then have a house, bills to pay. Then I decided to look into our maintenance facility, and that's how I ended up in the maintenance department in 2014. That's when I switched over to maintenance.
Okay. And so what's your official, what did you do at the hospital?
So currently, I was prior to this COVID vaccine mandate, I was working for Peace Health as senior hospital maintenance engineer. So I was basically overseeing all the outbuilding for Peace Health.
Okay. And so you have family too. Tell us about your family.
In my family, we have 4 children, and 2 boys, 2 girls, and then we have.
How old?
The older boy his name is Tristan. He's 25-year-old, and then we have second son. He's 21, and then the daughter, she is 20, and the other one is 18.
Yep.
Yeah, and you guys kind of have like a little farm, or like a.
We do have a little farm. It's about 10 acres. We bought this house about a year and a half ago, and came with 10 acres. But she loves gardening.
And Tammy's
my wife.
There we go.
Sorry, Chad. So she loves gardening, and every now and then, when I, feel like that I should help her out, I go out and give her a hand. Yeah. But mostly it's her gig.
It's Tammy's farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After work, she's out there and working and growing stuff. And now she is saving seeds for the next season.
Okay. And you guys have like ducks and dogs and yeah. So you've got a good little farm going.
Yep.
So So I want to ask you. So you when I talked to you before, you kind of told me your journey of how you decided to run, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about your political journey, kind of as you came here or you started to be an adult, what you thought, and maybe how your views changed a little bit.
So I grew up in very politically active family back in India, and then my dad's cousin, he was very active in local politics in our town. So always liked it, and it was exciting. Back in India, politics is kind of exciting. You know, people are very involved in what's going on and who's running, why they're running, and so grew up in that environment. So after I moved here, I always gravitate towards politics, and then I wanted to know more about local politics. And then when I first time voted, that was around after September 11.
Okay.
You know, I didn't know who to vote for. I was like, well, you know what? I kind of lean towards Democrat, but since after September 11, you know, we were all in the shock, like, okay, what happened to our country? So then I put my politics aside and then decided to vote for, you know, George Bush. After that, you know, of course, Barack Obama. I was like, okay, well, you know, first African American president. Maybe we're here to create history.
Yeah.
And I voted for Obama.
Yeah.
And then I always thought that I am Democrat, you know, because that's what a lot of the newer immigrants, when they come to U.S., they always look at which party to vote for. I think a lot of people tend to think that the Republican Party is party of, you know, white men, which is not true.
I can't really speak because I'm a Republican and a white man, so I'm going to be cautious.
No,
Go ahead and finish your thought.
So, and after 2008, and then when President Obama finished his second term, then I started looking around. Okay, why do I think that you know, I'm a Democrat? But then, you know, not knowing the history, American history to the full extent, then I just decided to ask other people, and then I came across a lot of people, and then did a lot of comparison to Indian politics and then American politics, you know, where, how things are run here. After I met my wife, then we used to have a lot of conversations, and she asked me about my political beliefs, and I told her, like, well, you know, I'm a Democrat. And then she asked me why, because I was like, well, when you look at the Democrat Party, you know, you see people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
And then she was, well, her views are she's conservative.
So let me challenge you on this.
Yeah.
By all walks of life, you're just you basically utilizing their skin color to represent all walks of life.
Yeah.
And not, you know, who they are internally, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So
It's a book by its cover.
yeah, the book by its cover,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And then, you know, after I started digging around, then she would challenge me on certain things, like, well, when you say all walks of life, what Chad just asked, you know, and then I would go turn around and say the same thing. Yeah, well, this is what Democrats believe, and because they are for everyday people.
Yeah, like they're embracing more diverse.
Yes. Yeah. And then, you know, in our high school, I don't think they do a very good job teaching American history. It's very brief. You know, they talk about President Lincoln, and after that, you learn about, obviously, you know, slavery, you know, that part of the history. And then you learn a little bit about Vietnam War, at least when I was in high school. That's, you know, I don't know how
Times have changed.
things may have changed
Yeah.
now, more so. But that's what we learned. You know, President Lincoln. And then I always thought President Lincoln was a Democrat, because the way they were like, well, North versus South.
Yeah.
'Cause when you coming from another part of the world, you always think, well, North, meaning this northern state. Southern states are always Republicans.
Yeah.
Northerns are Democrat. But it was the other way
It
around.
was the opposite.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why or how a lot of people think, well, northern states are always Democrats.
Yeah.
And then southern states are like always
Yeah, like Republican.
Yeah, Republicans,
Yeah,
racist people.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's
Well,
certainly not
the
true.
other issue with the school system is I went a long time believing that when the Pilgrims came over and they started interacting with the natives that were here, the natives were like, here, just take this land. You guys could just live here, And it was a long time before I realized what actually took place. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, so that's how my journey kind of started towards learning more about their, conservative
side of things.
Yeah, conservative side.
Yeah. So and you're Sikh. So can you tell me? So I don't know a lot about the Sikh religion, but can you kind of tell me Sikhs are conservative?
Yes, they are.
And some of them maybe don't realize that it's a conservative value that maybe aligns them. And is it kind of why you ran? Like, tell us why you ran and how your beliefs pull into that.
So why I decided to run, because of pure frustrations, basically.
Right.
It's like, well, I don't like the way the things are going right now. Are basically your conservative values. You are paying higher taxes, but you're not getting anything out of it. There's a lot of right now, people don't want to work hard, but they want to have everything handed down to them.
Right.
So that, if I were to compare my Sikh values, we believe in hard work, and then we believe in self-protection, not only to protect yourself but also protect others. And then we also believe in charitable, work, that you should get out and do charitable work. Not only in your temples, you should also step outside your homes,
like a community
and help
around
out your
itself.
community.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Sikhs are also very, I would say, martial religion.
Okay.
So they believe in standing up for their country. So the belief is, when you move away, whichever country you live in, that's where your loyalty, lies.
Where you land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah. So I just find it interesting, as being a Christian, how many things really, the values are the same. I mean, we might call God something different or whatever, but really the values at the root are very similar, and along with other religions as well.
Yeah.
Values are conservative. So I guess, what is your message to someone who may be on that same journey as you? Oh, I think I'm a Democrat, or I think I'm or like maybe like I'm a liberal because like, oh, I want to liberate and I want I'm for freedom. What do you say to that person?
What I would say to that person is to look for a real history.
Okay.
Do your own research. Don't listen to what your teacher or professor is saying. Not saying that they're not teaching you right, but do your own due diligence.
Right.
That's what I had to do, because we're not being taught the correct history. You have to go back and read it for yourself.
Right.
And if you're still not sure, ask people. Ask people questions.
Yeah.
That's how I came to my conclusion, by my own research and asking people questions.
So you said you decided to run because of your frustrations. So maybe we talk a little bit about frustrations. What's your top three? Your top three things you're frustrated about?
Number one is keeping our community safe. I want to see our first responders are being respected.
Yes.
It's like then that's how we can keep our community safe. If our first responders aren't not even there, they can't even do their job, then we can't keep our community safe. And then the next one is bringing jobs to our county. So if our first responders aren't being respected, that means there's no safety. Why would somebody want to move into an area that's not even safe?
Yes.
So therefore, it will affect who will move into our county and bring better paying jobs if people aren't following the rules or the laws aren't even there.
Yeah.
And then the next one is housing. So jobs will bring housing also. So if there aren't jobs, that means employers aren't coming in, and employers do want to come in, but there's no housing.
Yeah, no affordable housing. Especially if we take away the higher paying job.
Yep. So everything is kind of like intertwined with each
Yeah.
other. And then obviously then we have a homeless crisis going on in Whatcom County. But when I say Whatcom County, it seems to be more centralized to Bellingham area.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we have to look at as a society. We can't just sweep those people under the rug, but we have to address that problem because it's here.
Yeah.
So
What are some of the ideas that you've come up with, just in the short time period that you've been running, on ways that we can properly address the housing crisis, or more specifically, the homeless crisis that's taking place in Bellingham right now?
yeah, right now, like Ashley said, affordable housing is you can't even find anything under $400 or $450,000, and we don't have enough housing being built, so we have to look into some of the permitting process, whether it's the city or the county, and how they're going about it. And there are some regulations that we may have to look into, and also I'm pretty sure there are certain codes that we can't do a whole lot about, but we definitely got to look into those areas so we could take care of the housing problems, because people are moving in from different part of U.S.
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of those people are bringing in a lot of money with them, so they could buy a house.
Yeah, it's inflating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what the average cost of a house is in Bellingham right now?
In Bellingham?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, a small house has got to be over four. I mean,
Yeah.
in Linden, it's cheaper, and you got 2,100 square feet for $617.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, wow, we should sell our house and move to the Bahamas or something. I don't know.
I know, right?
But but I mean, it's crazy. Everything is so intertwined, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we just talked to Doug Erickson, and he was saying the stuff with our police right now is not getting as much as attention as it probably should, because everyone's talking about the other mandates.
Mm-hmm.
But he thinks really Inslee's trying to defund the police by mandating the vaccine, because you're removing those people from the force. So, I know you've got family members in the police department. Do you think that possibly, is that a threat?
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say which department. I was one of the police officer that I was talking to the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and he said there are at least 15 police officers. If the state were to mandate vaccines for police departments,
Yeah.
and there are 15 police officers will leave, their
That
job.
department, yeah.
Yeah, that department.
And I've spoke with Whatcom County sheriffs, and and these are all individual conversations, right? And Bellingham police officers as well,
Mm-hmm.
who will be leaving if it becomes mandatory.
Yeah.
Now, does that create a concern for you? 'Cause it does for me. That
It does, yeah,
the only police that may be left won't be those who care about somebody's individual right to choose what goes in their body.
Mm-hmm.
So they could be more easily influenced in the future with whatever mandates or, laws or, expectations the government throws at them to take away more individual rights from the citizens of the county. And the police would be more apt to just perform those tasks because all the people who want to stand up for individual rights have left. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
And I wonder too. So you've got this kind of degradation of everything, right? And so you look at, okay, so we can't get the police to stay in the job as it is because they're now villains, right? Now you've got this mandate, and yesterday, I believe it was, State Patrol sent a bunch of exemptions, and they were 100% denied.
Oh, wow.
100%. So no exemptions for you. You either take the vaccine or so basically, and again, we want people to have the right to choose. You want to get the vaccine, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you don't because you have concerns, the governor should not be able to mandate that. And so you have people who work in being first responders who are pushing back on this, and that should make people stop and go, I wonder why. And I think, people are looking at it and seeing that it's not just those who haven't taken the vaccine, but those now who have to get a booster who are like, but you have to stay fully vaccinated, right? So they use these words, fully vaccinated, to do anything. It seems where it's going. So I don't know, I think that it seems like we're giving up our freedoms for the sake of safety for one thing after another, but now they're creating more situations that are making things unsafe. So then are we going to give up more in order to try to be safe? So like, okay, we're going to pay more, or we're going to, how much more can we pay for everything? I don't think, especially if not everyone, but a good majority of people are going to start losing their jobs. Yep. So.
Well, the other funny thing is that I've never had a vaccine pushed to me from anybody besides a healthcare provider. And now all of a sudden when there's, a politician, or a governor, basically mandating that you get this vaccine, you become, pretty cautious with it. I mean, if they would have just thrown it out to all the healthcare providers, and one day I went to my doctor and he said, hey, I would like you to get this vaccine, kind of like you did with tetanus the last time.
Or flu.
There. Right.
Flu, yeah.
I would probably just take it and been like, yeah, whatever, doc, shove it. Go ahead.
I know.
Right? But then when I have Inslee saying, you're going to take this or else you're going to lose your job, it's like, I don't really think I want to.
Well, first it was your ticket to freedom to take off the mask. Your ticket to freedom is to take the vaccine. Now it's you can't seek further education. You can't keep a job. You can't, I don't know if kids, he said we're not doing it yet. So it will become a mandate with kids. Yeah. Yep. It will become mandated with children. So where does the line stop? And it just seems like it's big picture of something, right? Yeah. And it's a cycle, but it's spiraling downhill very fast. And the public is so divided, but you're seeing more and more people as things are being threatened who are becoming vocal. So I guess maybe I'll ask you, you decided not to get that vaccine and you lost your job. There were others at work, right? So you're not alone in that.
Yeah. So right now I didn't really lose my job. I'm on PTOs. Because I had some, acquired time because I didn't take a lot of PTOs, so I have some time. So I'm on leave, but
you're able to use your PTO.
I can use my PTOs.
But if you didn't have that, you'd be on leave without pay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I didn't have it, I'll be on leave without pay. So my whole thing is like I said before, I'm not against vaccines or anything. With this, I just need more time.
More time, right?
Because everything just coming out too fast, for me at least. So I just want a little bit more time, and then I'll be more than happy to, take the vaccine. But right now is not the time. Right,
and that's where we stand. When H1N1 came out, we didn't take it right away because we're like, well, maybe just wait a little bit. And I think it's the time, but it's also the like coercion
Yeah,
and like
that's-
why are they trying to push us and shove it down our throats
Yeah.
so hard? So it's more that, and I am a stubborn person, so it might be like I would hold out, but Chad
You are?
wouldn't. Yeah, just a little bit.
Well, I was thinking this just the other day, is that when I joined the military, I remember when I first got in to basic, they pumped me full of so many different vaccines. I didn't even know what they were.
Yeah.
And I never cared to ask, just because that's what you did. Before we went to Afghanistan, it was the same thing. Before we went to Iraq, it was the same thing. New round of shots. They were just pumping stuff into us. I never cared. Just whatever.
Yeah.
You say I need this, and it was coming from, our healthcare providers in the military saying, you need this to go here. Okay. So I've never had a big issue with getting vaccines. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
The only thing that separates this from all those other times is now it's not coming from the right people, right? And it's becoming too forceful. And when things become too forceful for an individual, you should really step back and say, well, what's going on?
Well, and the other thing is that we now have people in our hospital that are sick who are vaccinated, fully vaccinated. We have people who are in the hospital who have been vaccinated with one shot, who they're not even counting those people as vaccinated.
Yeah.
So there are vaccinated people getting sick. So that, again, you should ask the question, well, does this work?
Yeah.
And that's why they're saying, got to take the boosters, got to take all the boosters. And that's where you're seeing people who are like, wait a minute, I'm not sure.
Well,
So-
then you also have the people who are out there who will scream that you're hurting somebody else by not taking the vaccine. But my understanding is if they have it, they should be fine. So how am I doing any damage to them?
Yeah.
I don't quite
Yeah.
get how that lines up. But
Well,
Maybe-
a
do you
lot of
know?
it. No, a lot of it doesn't make sense. But I mean, we go around and around all day about it. I just, I think I just wanted to point out that you were someone who wasn't in trouble at work, right? You weren't, and it was just one choice that you decided because you want to stand up for choice.
Yeah.
And you respected everyone who didn't agree with you.
Yeah.
Right.
No, yeah, that's totally fine because that's
Yeah.
how things should be. To
Exactly.
me, it's like I would always want to hear both sides of the argument. So it was like when we were building a house, even when I hired contractors, to come to the hospital and do stuff, and we always taken at least 2 to 3 bids.
Yeah.
It was like we didn't take only one bid and say, yeah, come on in, do the job. It's like, no, I want to know who can give me the better deal. So I always take in at least 3 bids. So same thing with a vaccine or whatever you're about to do in your life. I wanted to hear both sides. If this person's saying you shouldn't, like, okay, well, why not? This person's saying you should, then why should I?
Right.
So that's all I want. I want to be able to make informed decisions at the end of the day.
Right. So, what do you think the county council could be doing? Okay, so we now see, well, there are 2 counties that just said if you're not vaccinated, you can't, well, what is it? You can't go into a restaurant or you can't go,
no, you have to show your vaccine card to get into the restaurants.
but it's just restaurants at this point? Right.
I don't know.
I really hope you can still buy groceries. I think it's just restaurants. But
that's what Amazon's for, right?
So Amazon's going to make more money on the unvaccinated.
There we go.
Yeah.
Let's just not go down that one.
So I think, what can a county council member do, or a county council as a whole, with, maybe our county executive? What can you do to stop this? I guess the mandates, can you block some of this? Can you help people who are like, well, now we're being excluded from life? I mean, when you can't go into a restaurant in Bellingham without showing your proof of vaccination, people feel it's wrong.
Yeah. I think county council, they should work, maybe pass new ordinances, and the people should not be being asked for their vaccine passports. I mean, then where does it stop?
Right.
Next thing you know, you can't go well, it's happening right now. I mean, there are a couple of restaurants in Bellingham asking people for the vaccine cards.
Yeah.
and what's next.
Right,
Your
and
grocery stores and other
it feels
stuff,
like
so-
discrimination.
Yeah, it is. Totally.
And so I think that you walk a really slippery slope here with discriminating against a group of people. Because I can think of like 50 other things that if I owned a business and said someone couldn't come in because all hell would
No,
just
you finish
break.
that. You had it perfect the other day that you were going to start a business.
No, I'm not going to.
No, but
okay, I'm not. Let's not
hypothetically-
put that out there. I am not
hypothetically.
going to do this. But hypothetically, if I had a business, maybe it's a flower shop, and I say, "Sorry, you can't come in. You're vaccinated." Whoa, could you imagine?
Yeah.
No one's gonna be like, "Oh, it's her private business. She can do whatever she wants." No.
It's
Or-
because of the double standard.
Or if I was like, I'm not going to sell flowers to you because of your choice in partner, whether it be sex or color or any of it. Whoa, right? So where do we draw the line here with people's free right to choose in this country? And I guess, there's only so much that a county council can do, but they can create pressure, right? And so do you believe that pressure should be coming from the county pushing back up to Inslee? No, we're not going to do this.
Yeah, they should. I believe our county executive should stand up for this.
Yeah.
So
'cause-
I recognize the ignorance in this question before I even ask it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So, seeing that you and Sat Paul are both from the Sikh community and both from India, how do you guys have such,
Drastic views.
drastic, views, that don't align with each other at all regarding, the county politics and what's best? But I realize how that's an ignorant question in itself, so just forgive me, right?
Well, but no.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the question: if people are saying, they would assume that maybe you and Sat Paul know each other and you might have the same views. Maybe just because you came from the same background,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
You may not have those same views.
No, yeah, we don't.
And so right. So yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think? Sat
I
Paul?
think I was more implying towards like the Sikh community where, they have their churches and they all kind of gather together. They're all, a family-orientated
They
group,
seem more
right?
conservative, and Sat Paul doesn't.
Right.
Yes, he's more progressive, more one government.
Yeah, so like everybody entitled to their own views, and then Sapal, Sidhu, and I, we don't really share the same views, obviously, and that's
Yeah, I mean, what?
Yeah,
so what?
about
I mean,
that.
like, what do you think he could do to help the county?
well, he's
'Cause you'd have to work with him.
Yeah, he's the county executive.
Yeah.
He should listen to the people, not just Jay Inslee, whatever Inslee's telling him to do.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of businesses are being affected by it. They're local mom and pop shops, and
And there's a lot of fear because they're so
There
scared
is
of
a lot of
all L&I, health department. They've all been weaponized here. And yeah.
yeah. So I think the county council, they all need to work together on this. Because if you really look at it, people are being locked up in their homes, and that's not right. And people should be able to go out and get some fresh air and exercise, and that should be the focus. Because now people are losing their jobs, and that's also, if you really look at it, the suicide rate has gone up. Their domestic violence and their child abuse has gone up, and there are so many things that all these lockdowns are
Feeding.
yeah feeding to that. So
Yeah. And so, okay, so maybe we'll talk a little bit about the numbers and the health department. So you would, if you were on the county council, you'd work with the health board. You'd probably, I think you have to be on the health board if you're on county council. They all are right now. But if you're on the health board with Erica Lockenbach, it was started with 2 weeks to flatten the curve, not to overwhelm the hospitals. And, that's debatable, our hospital. So it's not so much about beds or capacity or as much as staff to take care of them, which interestingly enough, we are getting rid of our staff at the hospital. Seems a little counterproductive here. But, it's not about flattening the curve anymore. Like, when's the last time we even heard flatten the curve or not overwhelm the hospitals? It's like we have to eradicate COVID before we can go back to what they're considering now a new normal. So how would you push, because you see Ben and Kathy, I think Tyler tried to push back on her, but he got cut off by time or something. But what would you push on Erica as far as like, hey, can you show us this proof that we are in an actual emergency instead of just saying that's what we're told?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie, right? And look at how many people are being hospitalized, what their recovery is. Just because you have COVID, that doesn't mean that you are going to die. And same thing, how many people have died from COVID. Look at those numbers and do comparison.
Right.
So and then, talk to our health department.
Right.
So.
Well, I think it's even worse if you have a pre-existing condition, right? But I think that is kind of the case with even the common cold or the flu.
Well, the flu's bad. I mean, but here's the thing is, can we just get real numbers? Because that's the thing. Can we get real numbers? Not this died with COVID.
Yeah.
COVID related.
Yeah.
Vaccinated, unvaccinated, fully vaccinated. Like, we're not getting any real numbers. Or, hey, the majority of the people in the hospital are unvaccinated. Well, what does that even mean? What are the numbers? Can we actually get these numbers and then take the population of this county and then tell me, is that pandemic? Is that, or is it a public health concern, a public health emergency? What do you think about? So parents are upset with the mandate on children. What do you? I mean, I can guess that you probably think that parents should choose what they want to do with their children.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what do you think with the school boards? If you were a county council member, what would you do to come alongside? Or again, what would you try to get the council to do if you were sitting there?
With the school board, I'm not sure how much county council have a say in that. But personally, just going to go back to that. It should be up to the parents to decide whether they want the child to be vaccinated or not.
Right.
And
and even from the mask, because we've got students who are going to school right now. Some of them with severe heart conditions. I'll use Mount Baker as an example. A severe heart condition for 2 children at Mount Baker, and the only way to really tell if they're in distress is if their lips are turning blue, and that's like immediately, okay, the school will not let them at this point go to school without that mask on. And then that exemption, if it came from a doctor, because at this point, as parents, like, no, they have a heart condition. I'm just saying, no, we're not going to do this. And so they said, well, they have to wear the mask. And, if he needs to get up and step out, then we'll just let him take as many breaks as he wants. But that's going to become a disruption. It's causing also stress for that child, because then other kids are going to say stuff about it. And then, so what happened was...
Is it fair, though, to use that argument to represent the whole, mask mandate that you're trying to...
What do you mean? No,
I know what you're doing, but you're taking a very 2 people out of 1,000 that go there to that school, right? And saying because of these 2 kids' issues that we can, say their lips turn blue and these reasons. But at the same time, you could just say that there are no real numbers that show that children are in danger from the COVID-19 virus.
Right, but what I'm getting at here, though, is that it was, okay, if the doctor gives you an exemption, well, then the principal and the school nurse are going to decide if they'll accept that exemption. So now we're getting to the point where you're saying parents should have the right to choose. Yeah. That's where it should stop. But now it's like, well, the doctor has to then help that parent choose. And then apparently that's not enough. The principal and the nurse have to okay that and approve it. And then it still, I think, has to go to the state health department, or they have to get approved still at that point. So all these exemptions are just getting kicked around until they're just denied.
Yeah.
And so what does it have to take? A kid dying because they had a heart problem they couldn't tell? I mean, what does it have to take before people realize, okay, maybe this isn't one size fits all, right? So I wonder what our current county council and maybe someone who's running for county council can do to help. And maybe it give courage to those. I mean, Doug Erickson says absolutely that school board can say no. They can tell Inslee no. They're saying it's law, we have to follow the law. Yeah. Doug says no, you can say no. So I'm wondering if there's something, and maybe that's just an idea that you'd have to explore when you got there, right? What can you do? And then also I want to ask, for over $40 million coming down that St. Paul is talking about for the Family Rescues Plan. Could we help the schools if they bucked it? Could we spend that money there? I've asked this from other council members, like, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
And, but have you thought about that money, and what would you recommend to St. Paul? Because he says he really wants the public's input here.
Yeah, no, that's sounds a great idea to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole thing is going, if we don't follow these mandates, the state could cut our funding.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. If the money is available, why can't we?
Right.
Yeah, I would totally support that.
So that would be the county council and the executive coming along and supporting families in need.
Yeah, because I think our kids should be always our top priorities. So I don't really care who you are, whether you are county council, county executive. Yeah, I would totally agree. Yeah, we should be able to use that money if they were to lose their funding. We should be able to use that $40 million.
Yeah, and because I think that some members want to subsidize childcare, because our childcare, we do have a problem in Whatcom County, and the biggest childcare provider left recently, and so I know we have that problem, but maybe we also have a problem right now that needs to be addressed, and the problem is that the local level is being stripped away, right? So, I mean, what do you think about local control versus taking control from the state? I mean, do you think that people should have we should have more local control, like the council, the executive should do more? Or, for instance, should we meet in person and be able to talk to our council members?
Of course, I think so. Even if they have to do this social distancing,
right,
that's perfectly fine.
I think people put a mask on just to be able to go.
Yeah, I would totally do it.
I would do it.
Yeah, I would support that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you are representing the people who are voting for you, who have voted you in. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, people should be able to come to the council meeting, and if people are vaccinated with the masks and social distancing, I think we should go back to having normal council meetings.
Right, because
it
seems like they're trying to take that voice away a bit. Like, you have the city council of Bellingham who has cut off public conversation.
Yeah, that
Bellingham City Council doesn't allow public comment.
No.
That's sweet.
Then why are you even there?
Why are you even there?
If the people are voting you in, that's the whole thing. You are a public servant. Isn't that why you put in? That's why you ran, because you want to serve the public, serve the people. Right. So that's my question. Then why are you even there?
Right. Yeah. So can you tell me if people like yourself, or if we can't reelect Tyler Bird, if you guys aren't able to get in, what are we headed in a wrong direction pretty quick? I mean, I think we talked about kind of the spiral. Can we get out of that spiral without some change?
We can't. You got to have a balance on whether it's the city government or the county or whatever.
Right.
So we need to have a balance there. And if you just have one type of opinion, then you can't. Then there's no balance, right? Right. So.
Yeah, and I know the affordable housing, that's something that I know St. Paul wants to work on. So that's something, that's a one side, the other side maybe come together and do some work on that. Yeah. But I think that we're at a very big turning point. And if I can urge people, like, you just got to show up and vote, right? We've got to show up. I mean, last election was a big show up, but still wasn't as big as it should have been. Yeah. So,
what I will point out to recently, in the primary, I think there are only overall for the at-large position, what I'm running for, only 40,000 people voted.
Out of what?
Out of 158,000 people. Yeah. And then people wonder why we ended up with what we have. Then why people are ending up with these not very good policies. It's like elections have consequences.
Yes.
Right? If you don't show up, you're going to end up with whatever is, let's say, if 10% of the people are voting, then you have nothing to complain about, right?
Right.
So everybody have to show up. All I'm going to say, it doesn't matter what side you represent. You got to show up.
Right.
You know, you pay taxes. Your kids go to school. And your local elections are, I would say, very important. So
I think local elections are more important because it affects your everyday
Everybody,
life, and we should have local control instead of just looking to the White House for everything.
no.
I don't even pay attention to what's going on in
Yeah.
there. So I mean, like we've really,
she does.
no, not so much, not so
Yes,
much
she
right
does.
now. but that's foreign policy.
Yeah.
It's important, but what happens every day in my life is mostly local,
Yeah.
and so people want to complain about this, and that, and then I'm like, well, who'd you vote for? In which election? I voted for, a president, whatever. No, I don't care about that one. Who'd you vote for here? I don't think I voted last time.
Yeah.
Well, then you can shut up. Like, just shut up. I don't
Yeah,
know.
or the most outspoken people that you find regarding local politics, and then you end up at their house and you see their ballots from 2 months ago sitting on a shelf not filled
I
out.
mean, they mail it to your house.
Yeah.
You don't even
Yeah.
have to go anywhere except to drop it. Please don't mail your ballot. Just drop it in the box.
Yeah.
It's so easy for people, and we just got to vote. And then, I would say too, if you like what you're hearing with Kamal, or you want to go support Tyler, or anyone for school board, or anyone who you like, go out and talk to your friends and your neighbors, and go tell everyone, you were like, the ice cream truck was coming. You guys, the ice cream truck's coming, and Kamal's gonna be on the ballot. You gotta go vote.
Yeah.
So you gotta bring that excitement because it's affecting every part of our life.
Yeah, man, I was looking at Goodyear blimps and how much it would cost to get a Goodyear blimp over Bellingham with Kamal for
Yes.
all written on it. Unfortunately, it's like $500,000, but
no, as like going back to what we were Ashley was talking about, how people got to show up. And my number one goal been this time that to get out to our Punjabi East Indian community. I've been asking people who would you have voted? Have you voted? But people are really getting excited about we have someone else that is representing us.
Yeah.
So
We have a big trucking community. They're
Oh
getting
my
hit
God, yeah.
hard right now.
those guys are some of the hardest working people. Punjabi community, our numbers are multiplying.
Yeah.
Every year it's you look at it, somebody else is new. And matter of fact, people think that I am new to this community. It's no, I've been here for 25 years. Yeah, you haven't seen me, but that doesn't mean that,
yeah.
I haven't been living here. So I've been getting out and connecting with our people.
Yeah.
So I'm also reaching out to other communities that don't vote as much. Okay, the people always say, we get ballots, but we don't know who to vote for. It's reach out. And I've been telling people, call me.
Yeah.
Facebook message me. I will promise you I will return your call or message you back. Because a lot of people, I think, I feel like this is the problem in our community here,
Yes.
In America especially. Once someone becomes a politician, people give them this weird celebrity status,
Yeah,
so and so is
yeah.
not reachable. No, forget that. You are electing them. You are paying their salaries
Yeah.
or whatever they're getting. We, the people, at the end of the day, you can make them. You can put them in the office. You can take them down, get them out of the office. That's how things should be. I mean, there's nobody above you, we the people. You elect them, you
take 'em
can
down,
you
yeah.
can take them out.
Yeah,
So,
and I've said it a million times, I think. But when you elect them, don't forget about them.
yep.
You gotta know what's going on.
Yeah. And also, we got to get out this mindset also. Just because you have voted for somebody, that doesn't mean they're your saviors now. It's
Doesn't mean go to bed.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to
Yeah.
take a nap. You don't have to be political,
Yeah.
but remember, it's your life.
yeah, nobody's coming to save you. I don't really care, whoever you voted for, it's like you, the people, it's you are the one who got to step it up.
Yep.
Don't just count on the politicians because they won't.
I'm going to see if I could word this properly. Do you think it would be challenging to navigate the chance that you're going to come up to a challenge where you're going to have your own personal beliefs on what you're working with, but the voice of the people is going to, how to say this? So basically, you're going to look at a situation and you're going to say, this is how I would deal with it if it was just me personally. But when you go back to your constituents and you hear their voice and you find out that what they want is done something different than what you would personally do you think that would be challenging for you to work through?
It can be, but there's.
Did that make sense what I said?
Yeah.
Because Ashley could probably repeat it in a better way.
All right, go ahead, Ashley.
Well, no, I think you're wondering can you put your personal feelings aside for things to represent the people. But to be honest, if they voted for him, if he's honest about who he is in his election, which I think he is, and I think that's why people really like you.
Never mind, I think she's answering it for you too.
But I you can tell me if I am wrong,
you're absolutely
but I
right,
think if you voted for someone and they're true to who they are, then you're voting for that person's what they stand for, and they're not your savior, but at the same time, but. Again, that's why people do get upset sometimes. Like, that's not who they think, well, that's not who I voted for. That's not what they're supposed to do. So but that's important why it's good to talk to who you put in office.
Yeah.
Are you going to take that answer? Is that?
I would agree with Ashley.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley.
She said it the best, yeah. And then also you have to have a communication with your constituents who have voted for you.
Yep.
You have to. Because otherwise, you'll be out there making your own decisions, and people are saying, well, that's not what I want or what I wanted. So hold, I guess, regular meetings with them and have, reach out to the people.
Yeah.
So I've seen you a lot in the county, and I...
Not only in the county.
No. Well, I don't go really anywhere else, right? I live somewhere, I work somewhere.
You mean like out and about? You've seen him a lot?
Right.
Yeah.
But, how do you plan on, spending more time getting to know the people in Bellingham and, listening? Because you're running for the at-large position, so you then have to spend a lot of time around the college, in downtown, just in Seaholm, all these different areas. What do you have planned for the future to get out there and, speak with those people as well?
I just hold... But what I was doing before, I was during summertime. Now the time is changing, getting cold out there, and I was doing ice cream with Kamal. We were doing every Wednesday.
Ice cream in the park.
Yeah, ice cream in the park.
You're working. You missed it.
Yeah, you missed it. But
yeah.
Some really nice.
He really likes ice cream.
I do like ice
and
cream.
cake. Like if you have cake with Kamal, he'd be like, yeah.
Yes, or coffee with Kamal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd go for the cake, but
perfect.
Whatever.
I'll bring cake and coffee. So that's my plan, to just get out more. Hold these regular events.
Yep.
So
it's conversation.
Yeah, you've got to have conversations.
Right. And that was something, like you say, connecting with people. And we're gonna wrap up here in a sec, but I was at the fair really listening to people, and it was a long time. There was 11 days. It was so long at the fair. But I learned so much from listening to hundreds of people. And some of it was hard to hear.
Yeah.
But I got to hear it, and there's commonality. And so I think that's why when you have conversation with people, you keep that dialogue open. Someone's voting for the values that you hold.
Yeah.
So you would think that that's what you're getting, and you would hope. But again, like you said, if it's not, you take them down, right?
Yeah.
You take them back out. So, how can people find you online? How can they get a hold of you? So tell us, do you have a website?
Yes, I do have a website. It's pretty easy, kamalforusall.com.
Okay.
And same thing on Facebook, Kamal for Us All. And I'm on Facebook also.
Okay.
And Yeah, that's the easier way to find me.
Okay, you have pumpkin carvings or anything? Like have a big Kamal pumpkin carving? Kamal, it's a contest. You should have a pumpkin
do
carving
it.
contest.
Yes.
Oh, jeepers.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I know you would bring one of the biggest.
I have some
Big
very
pumpkin.
good ideas, but I'll probably have to wait till later before I can share them.
Oh,
So-
okay. All right. Oh, well, thank you for coming and talking to us, Kamal.
Always. Thank you for
Chad, I'll
having me.
think about maybe having you on again. We'll see.
Who says I want to come back?
Okay, fine, whatever. All right. So thank you for coming.
Thanks,
and